Well folks, the Oppo Find X5 series is finally upon us, and here on Grounded Tech I thought it would be a good idea for us to go over the two devices and sort of decide which one's the best to buy, because the Find X5 standard is pretty good and it might even be closer than you think. I did a similar video for the Pixel 6, and I actually decided that the standard Pixel 6 was the better option to go for, and I in fact went for that option. And so far, I'm actually quite happy with the choice that I made, and I still think it is the better choice of the two. So will the Find X5 be better to go for than the Find X5 Pro? Let's talk a little bit about the specs. To bear with me on this one, guys, I'm going to have to sort of read the specs out from my phone, and just going to go over the differences. We're not going to talk about every single spec of the phone, but the majority are covered here, the ones that are important. So the Find X5 has a 6.55-inch Full HD display at 120Hz, 1000 nits peak brightness, whereas the X5 Pro has a 6.7-inch Quad HD 120Hz LTPO panel that hits 1300 nits. The X5 has a Snapdragon 888, whereas the X5 Pro has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. The Find X5 has 8 gigs of RAM, whereas the Pro has 12 gigs of RAM. And battery is very similar. We've got 4800 mAh in the X5 versus 5000 in the Pro. Both have the same 80 watt charging by wire. That's the Super VOOC fast charging. When it comes to the wireless charging, the X5 has 30 watts and the Pro has 50 watts. The main difference I've seen so far is that the X5 has got IP54 water and dust resistance, whereas the X5 Pro has IP68. And then obviously the design as well. You get the ceramic on the Pro and the sort of the blended camera module, whereas the X5 is a little bit more traditional. It's still got the similar shape camera module, but it's not as sleek fitting as the Pro is. And you just got the standard glass metal trim, and then of course your Gorilla Glass bits on both of those. Then there's the price difference. So the X5 is going for £749. The Pro is going for £1,049. That's a massive difference of £300. That's a big difference. Big difference. I can tell on the camera front they have the exact same camera setup, and I would expect that the images would be very similar. The only difference really is the fact that they've got a different chipset, which might just produce slightly different results. They've both got the hasselblad tuning, they've both got the marisiliconx MPU, so it's very similar on that front. Running Android 12 out of the box and ColorOS 12.1. You do get with the X series from Oppo, you do get 3 years of OS updates and 4 years of security updates, which is very good. And with the fact that it launches with this OS, that takes you up to 13, 14, 15. See, quick math. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem like a massive amount of difference for £300. And I remember saying that the difference from the Pixel 6 to the 6 Pro wasn't really that much and wasn't worth the £250 increase. This is a little bit more than that, and there's even less difference even in the camera setup. So I'm not really sure if I could recommend the Pro over the standard X5. But let's just quickly go over the differences again. So when it comes to the display, obviously the X5's got 1080p. I don't think that's a problem. I mean, a lot of flagships run 1080p displays these days. The tech now is very good. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Obviously the Pro's got the LTPO panel, which means it can drop the refresh rate and save battery life when you're not doing anything intensive as such, when you're not even scrolling and things like that. it might save a little bit on battery life, but again, it's Quad HD, it's a little bit bigger, it can be brighter. So I think overall battery life is going to be very, very similar on the two. And on the note of the battery, we've got a difference of 200 mAh, which, again, I don't think there's going to be much difference there at all. The RAM difference of 4 gigs, again, most people are barely going to make use of the 8 gig of RAM, let alone the 12. And with the build, don't get me wrong, the Pro is a gorgeous looking phone. It's probably the nicest looking phone I have seen in years. But we're going to put a case on it, right? We're going to put a case on it, right? So does it really matter whether the Pro looks a little bit better than the standard X5? Because, you know, we'll slap a case on and then it's done and dusted, right? I mean, that looks like a phone that I would not like to drop. The big issue for me with the X5, and it's just one issue, and it's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one. The IP rating. So, IP54. So when it comes to dust, it's not completely dust proof, and it might technically affect performance a little bit, but it blocks most of the dust that would get into your phone. When it comes to the water resistance, it can take a sprinkle, basically, so rain. Anything more than rain, you probably don't want to be doing it. It's basically, don't take it in the bath or the shower or in a swimming pool or anything, because it's going to get wrecked. So that kind of pushes me a little bit more towards the Pro. Milo! Sorry, I'm shouting at the dog because he's trying to go into next door's garden. Complete distraction from the video, I apologise. I really do think that that's a pretty big omission for a phone that costs £749. Yeah, I don't know. I can see why they'd sort of do that to try and push people to the Pro a bit more, but at the same time, I feel like they maybe should have done that with like an ultra wide. Maybe change the ultra wide, downgrade that, something. The IP rating, I feel like you need that on a phone at that price range these days. Yeah, I think the standard X5 is a very, very good option. But if you need that waterproof, that water resistance, you're really going to have no choice but to go to the Pro, which is unfortunate because the standard X5 really is, in terms of specs, absolutely spot on. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I'd probably push to the Pro because I'm so used to having that water resistance now. But what do you guys think? What would you choose? If you let me know down in the comments, it'd be interesting to see. And maybe, just maybe, the Find X3 Pro is the real gem to be looked at from last year. I might even look down that route myself. No, though, if I went for the Find X5 Pro, because I wanted the best, and then Oppo decided they were going to release the rumoured Find X5 Pro Plus a little bit later this year, I'd be a little bit gutted. Don't know about you. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. As always, stay grounded, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy. I'm being totally outdone by these birds right now.